You want to enjoy your time abroad. You don't want to move to be sitting at your dining room table eating ramen for 6 months.
Hi there, I'm Mistal Godlewski, an American girl who called the cornfields of Illinois home until over 10 years ago when I started navigating the chaos of life overseas. If you've ever felt that itch for something more, that whisper telling you to break free from the ordinary, you're in the right place. This podcast is your backstage pass to the wild ride of moving abroad. I'm here to pull back the curtain on the real journey, sharing stories that are funny, dramatic, and sometimes downright unbelievable. We'll explore the gritty details, from battling culture shock and navigating tricky visa processes to celebrating those small victories that make it all worth it. So whether you're daydreaming about a new life abroad or already in the thick of it, grab your passport and let's explore what it really means to live life beyond borders. Welcome to A Broadly Speaking.
Hey there, friend. Welcome to the Broadly Speaking podcast. My name is Mistal. I'm super glad you're here. If you're new here, welcome. If you're a returning champion, welcome back. We are in the middle of our 4-week series on budgeting. We're on week 2 this week. We want to make sure that you're ready for your budgeting your move abroad. Let's talk about saving money on your move without resorting to extreme couponing or surviving on instant ramen for the next 6 months. Because let's be honest, moving abroad is expensive, but it doesn't have to completely wreck your finances. You just have to plan for it. In today's episode, we're going to break down the real ways to cut costs before, during, and after your move without making yourself miserable in the process. No, you do not need to sell your belongings or move to your parents' basement for a year before you move. We're talking about smart, strategic ways to trim the fat so that you can move abroad with cash left in the bank and without resorting to borrowing money from your great uncle, because that's the way it works. If you want to keep your finances in check and have a full financial plan, I have a special treat for you coming up starting the 1st of April. We have a 3-day Don't Go Broke Abroad challenge, which is absolutely free, where we're going to map out your budget for your move together. I'm going to drop the link in the bio. So please, if you haven't already registered, come along. It will be really great and helpful, I think, for you as we go. And I want to make sure that you get your best budget forward before we move. All right. So for this week, let us dive in on how you can save money on your move abroad. This is where most people overspend without even realizing it, which is in their before you move budget. Let's talk about how to keep your pre-move expenses from spiraling out of control. Here's where you can save. For visas and paperwork, some countries are going to charge you an arm and a leg for visas. But did you know that if you apply from certain locations, you can lower the costs? If you research different application centers or ask if moving on a tourist visa first legally is an option, you can absolutely reduce your cost, because if you apply in country for your residence visa, that's often cheaper than applying from another country. Another option is, for example, to look for a job search visa. Some countries allow you to move there for up to 6 months on a job search visa. That job search visa is typically cheaper and less expensive, same thing, than an actual residency or work visa. So definitely take a look at that to see if you can apply in that way instead. For legal documents, for apostilles, translations, background checks, all of those things, we talked about this in the last episode, those all can add up very quickly. If you do them in advance, though, you're going to avoid paying any rush fees associated with it. You'll also be able to double check and make sure that it's right before you have to go back and reapply because somebody did something wrong. So definitely check that in advance. When you're trying to save on flights, if you want to save money, be flexible. Flying in the middle of the week is always going to be cheaper than flying on a weekend or on Monday and Friday. So your Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday flights are typically substantially cheaper than your Saturday, Sunday, Friday flights. Why? Because those are business flights and those get jacked up on prices. Another option is to look for budget airlines where you can fly cheaper, obviously, on a budget airline than you can on the big airlines internationally. The other option is to book in advance. These are going to knock hundreds off your ticket price. If you're booking a week or 2 weeks before, you're going to be paying at least double than what you could have paid otherwise. Another option is to don't travel during those very high travel seasons. Christmas time, for example, summer breaks between school years. If you can avoid relocating during those periods, you're also going to save money. For housing and deposits, there are people who swear by house sitting or short-term sublets to avoid high upfront rental costs. You can also look for serviced apartments that offer weekly or monthly rates. Oftentimes, you're going to get a better rate if you rent for a month versus renting for a week. Avoid things like hotels, which are going to be extraordinarily more expensive than, for example, if you move into a sublet or into a serviced apartment. One thing that you can do is for flight prices, for example, this is just a bonus tip. You use a price tracker like Google Flights or Skyscanner and set up alerts to where your location is going to be from where you want to take off. Also, another little hint, look at airlines or airports that are around you that might be a little bit cheaper. For example, if you're flying out of a small regional airport and maybe an hour away or 2 hours away is a bigger airport, it may be worth the drive to save money on your flight. You can save thousands by not flying out of a regional airport and flying out of, like, let's say, a Houston or a Chicago, if it's close enough to drive. And when you account for the gas and Uber prices, you often save that in the flight ticket costs as well. And since it's a one-way flight, you don't have to worry about where you parked your car. The next part we'll talk about is your moving costs. How can you save on your moving costs? Packing up your life and moving it across the world can be very expensive, but here's how you can slash these costs. One option is to sell what you can. Every item you don't ship is money saved. So Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, and local selling groups can become your best friend. Like I mentioned in the last episode, your queen-sized bed is not going to be something that you can get a new mattress for abroad. So is it worth selling and getting money for it and then buying a new one when you get there that you can live with for longer? Those are things that you can consider. There are some smart shipping options as well. Suitcases are expensive to check, so consider shipping boxes via freight services instead, which are often cheaper than airline fees. If you know where your temporary home is going to be, you can already pre-ship goods there a couple of days before, knowing that it's going to take, for example, a week to get there versus putting it on the plane with you. One quick additional tip here is look into airline baggage deals for immigrating passengers. Some airlines do offer extra bags for free if you show that you're moving. So definitely look into that as well. This is likely not going to be the case on necessarily budget airlines, but on a lot of the big brand airlines, they do have that option. For excess baggage, I would say airlines do charge for overweight luggage. So weigh your bags before you get to the airport and also see if it's shipping an extra checked bag is cheaper than actually shipping your goods. So double check what's more price effective for you. If you're not shipping furniture, skip the international movers. But if you do, get at least 3 different quotes to compare prices. You definitely want, if you're shipping your furniture or if you're shipping fragile goods across the ocean, you want to make sure that your professional movers have insurance policies for you as well. That's going to cost you a little bit more upfront, but it saves you so much on the back end, especially if something gets lost or gets broken and damaged. Last but not least on money savings is your after you arrive. We want to make sure that you avoid the oh crap, I'm broke moment that happens. So the moment you land, money starts disappearing super fast. And you can keep your spending under control from day one by finding housing smartly. Look for furnished rentals to avoid dropping cash on furniture right away. Some landlords negotiate rent if you commit to a longer lease as well. In many cases, there may not be furnished rentals available to you. So look at things like IKEA or other budget furniture options. Again, Facebook Marketplace, any local giveaway resell groups are going to also be super helpful for you to temporarily furnish your apartment if you are moving without furniture. So you don't have to spend a fortune. There's a lot of places that have free or very reduced cost options for you for furniture. And I will honestly admit, IKEA furniture is really not that bad in Europe. I have a few pieces of IKEA furniture. In fact, the desk I sit at while I record these episodes is from IKEA. It's lovely. I've found that the quality is a lot better in Europe than it was in the US, but that's just me. So just something to consider. We talked previously on the last episode about banking and in currency exchange. Make sure that you avoid terrible exchange rates by setting up your bank account as soon as you arrive. TransferWise, now called Wise, and Revolt often have lower fees than traditional banks when you're ready to transfer money from, for example, from the US to Europe. So definitely take a look at that. Make sure that you're optimizing your fees for transferring money, as well as making sure that you're using your local bank account to pay local expenses so you're not paying foreign transaction fees and or losing on exchange rates. As a bonus tip here as well, whenever you're traveling, and this is true anytime you're traveling, make sure that you travel and if you're paying, for example, by credit card, pay in the local currency. Do not pay in your home currency. You're going to lose money every time. So if it says like press 1 for your home currency, press 2 for whatever the local currency is, always, always, always pay in the local currency. Why? Because you're going to get better exchange rates. The exchange rate on those terminals is often more than your bank exchange rate and is often even more expensive than your exchange fee. They're usually a 5 or 6% markup versus your bank usually will charge you less than 2%. So just an idea. It really does save money in the long run. The same applies if you want to get cash. Do not get cash from one of those cash exchange machine or cash exchange kiosks at the airport. Use your debit card. Tell your bank first, but use your debit card and withdraw cash directly. Again, you're often going to get a better exchange rate and pay less fees doing that than you would with these exchange and the kiosk airport exchange people. Some transportation hacks as well. Taxis and Ubers are going to quickly drain your budget. So learn the public transportation system early, assuming that you're going to have public transportation where you're moving. If you do need a car, try buying a used car instead of leasing a new one or buying a new one. That will also obviously save you quite a bit of cash, not only on the car itself, but also on insurance fees as well. For the purposes of food and groceries, obviously eating out is going to add up fast for you. So hit up local markets for cheaper, fresh food. Your country may have something equivalent to a Costco or a membership. For example, here in Switzerland, we have a membership with local farms that deliver food to your house, and that reduces your fees overall. We also have here, for example, some big box type stores. They're not Costco, for example, in the US, but you can buy in bulk. You can buy toilet paper in bulk, or you can buy, for example, laundry detergent in bulk. That often reduces your cost overall. So there's ways that you can still save. Look those up. You don't have to spend a fortune eating out every night, but we also want you to make sure that you do have enough to survive, right? You want to enjoy your time abroad. You don't want to move to be sitting at your dining room table eating ramen for 6 months. So definitely take a look at that. We have a free thing that we can give you as well on 10 ways to save in your move. I'll drop a link for that in the show notes below as well. These are more ways that we talk about that can help you save on your move. They're 10 unique ways. We want to make sure that you don't feel like you're a broke college student when you move abroad. If this still feels overwhelming for you, don't worry. Join our 3-day Don't Go Broke Abroad challenge. We will break it all down step by step so you have a budget that actually works for you. The link for that as well is in the show notes. So there's 2 links for you. One is for 10 money saving hacks for your move, and number 2 is the link for a 3-day Don't Go Broke Abroad challenge. I invite you to grab both of those, either of those, whichever one you don't already have. They're going to be great for you. And I hope this one's been helpful. That's it for the day. If you have any questions, as always, please feel free to DM me on Instagram at I am Estelle, or reach out to me as it were on an email. I'm happy to be there. Make sure that you go save that money, and I'll see you on the next one.
Thanks for tuning in to Broadly Speaking. If today's episode got you dreaming a little bigger or thinking a little braver, go ahead and hit subscribe, leave a review, or share it with someone who's ready for their own adventure. And hey, don't be a stranger. Come hang out with me over on Instagram at I am Estelle for the real, unfiltered life abroad. Keep that passport handy, and remember, life's too short to stay in one place.